which is rare. It's rare for okay. Opponent Arusek from Poland. He's gonna get the English opening. It's the English. So I play should do 2 no matter what. 5. Okay. I'll play d3 before knight f3 to prevent e4. e4 loses a pawn now to takes and knight g5. There's actually no rush to castle. I'll wait for him to castle before I castle. So this is a closed Sicilian reversed. Something that I like to play. It doesn't give white a whole lot, but it's a comfortable position to play. At times, sometimes I can go c5 against early moves like this. But I'll go bishop e2 now. c5 to undermine e5. Here knight d2 makes some sense to put pressure on b7. You could play, yeah, that move, but I'll put pressure on the center and b7 immediately. You could play d5 also. Not taking, I think rook b8 is better, so he doesn't take. I'll actually take one rook because he would rather have the rook in the attack. He would rather have the rook on f8 to attack. So, black's move. I have a slight time edge. About 15 seconds. And you have to think about the time more in 3-minute games, more than 5-minute games. It's much more of a factor in 5-minute games. Sorry, in 3-minute games. Matt Damon, Janine Garofalo, and Matt Damon. Matt Damon. So now I have a huge time edge. He's spending way too much time here. Knight g6. I'll play here. If he takes, then he can't really have an attack because you need the heavy pieces for the attack. And now I'm gonna have a whole lot of pressure. Like queen b6. Yeah, no, okay. I thought I had a trick. I thought I queen b6 d5, queen check takes on e5, but the knight is covering this. So queen here, d5, knight a4. So should be annoying. Takes here. Yeah. And I have the better structure. He plays c5. Okay, my feeling is that should be good for me. Knight b5 maybe. Put pressure on this. It's not a whole lot, but hopefully a little bit of pressure. Something like this. So this will be a massage session here. I'm not sure this is the best move. Just putting some pressure on his pawn. See what he wants to do. And if g4, probably knight g5. And I think I like to take his bishop and try and get a hole here on d5. f4, yeah. So do I have some evil stuff? Ooh, that looks like it's inviting me to do something evil here. Bishop c6, where does he put the queen? Queen e7. Yeah. Okay, I'll just take it, but it was so close to being a blunder, I think. Let's improve the bishop somehow, like this. And he doesn't have any attack going. I should have played maybe queen c6. Maybe I should get the queen around to like, don't like this move for him. Let's just play queen c6 and then I can always take on f3 if he plays there. I can play bishop d5. Yeah, play bishop d5. Yeah, it's a bit risky. Take with a pawn. Okay, it's very risky, but let's see. 96. Probably had better ways to play it here, but I guess I didn't find them. Oh, time pressure. Time pressure, y'all. Okay, let's play queen here. 96 might come at some point. 98. Forever and ever, life is now or never. Oh, that loses the queen. So he just Dr. Evil. Play here and take this pawn. Take the pawn. Let's maneuver around here. With my Scottish accent, I will maneuver around to c7. I'll pick off the pawn. And from here, it's going to be quite easy. And prime move d6. You can check here. Play d7. Take this guy. And give him a check here. Take this one. You can move the e-pawn, but it's going to be too little too light. No stalemate. You can always go to g7. And Czechoslovakia. Checkmate. Yeah, I like this. I want to look at this game, so that you people learn something. Not always just play, right? Let's look at the game. So this is a closed Sicilian reversed. Why do I say that? Because after something like this, what is this position really? It's the same as something like this. This one, same at c3, g6, g3, bishop g7. You get the drift. It's going to be the same position eventually. Did he play knight here, knight here, knight here, d6? Castles, castles. So it's the same position, but with colors reversed. Okay? So basically, with white, you have one tempo over this variation with black. So all the moves here are quite normal. d3 to stop e4. You can never play e4. The pawn just drops off. No matter how you take, you play knight g5 and 1, 2, and 3 attackers. This pawn is going to drop off the board. Simple mathematics. You have only one defender and you can't only add one. So 3 beats 2. Like rock beats scissors, right? And paper beats rock. So back we go. Knight c6 was played. And all castles is fine. I just wanted him to castle first before I castled. So a3 castles, now a castle. Just to prevent any attack with the rook on h8, but that's quite rare in these lines. So this is all theoretical. But here I never really remember specific lines, to be honest. I just know of some plans and I have looked at some games, so I know where the pieces should go more or less. I mean, I'm not saying, I think I'm pretty good, close to an expert, but I'm not like world class, but I think I'm pretty good in these positions, and I've had good results with them, beating players up to close to 2500 in standard tournaments. So I think that's pretty good. Bishop e6, 92. That's usually a standard move. You want to increase the scope of this bishop. So c6, preventing me from taking. Rook, b5 first, yeah. So these pawns kind of interact with the bishop in increasing the pressure on this diagonal. You could play d5 here at some point. which is fine. Black will have a strong. Okay, play queen d7. But if he plays d5, he will have some strong pawns here, and he should try and hold on to the center. But meanwhile, I will try to. Notice how I say center, like I'm American. Like, how do I say center? If I'm Scottish, I say center. But how do I say it in English? Yeah, it's a cup of tea. Go to the center. To the center. So I try to attack the center. Rook a1, g5. So it's standard for black to try and attack here on the king side. And for that, he's gonna need at some point some heavy pieces. So that's why I took an a8, because the rook here wants to be here. Once you play something like f4, bishop h3, blah blah blah, take on g3, you want this rook to be active. But here it's out of play. So going back, no, going back. We're going forward. Queen b3, knight c6, rook a1. Again, I want to exchange the rooks. If the rook moves to f8 to support the attack, then maybe rook a7, and now I'm starting to put some pressure on his pawns, and it's hard to deal with the pressure. So he took an a1, bishop takes a1, but now it's hard for him to attack because he don't have any heavy pieces. And now my feeling in general is that white will have some annoying pressure on the queen side, and in a practical game it can be hard to defend. If you're playing against the computer will most likely defend, but for a human it can be difficult. h5, okay. This looks threatening, but what is he really doing? If he plays e4, a take. If he plays f4, nothing has happened, and he is giving away the e4 square, giving me more scope for the bishop. If g4, I mean, okay, it's my move, nothing happened. If h4, still nothing happened. If he takes on g3, like here, takes, he opened the h file, but what's on the h file? We exchanged the rook, so there's nothing happening on the h file. So game on, I'll take on c6. The idea is simple, to attack this pawn. Queen b6. And here I was maybe expecting d5, but then probably I go knight a4. I want to go knight c5. So if you take here, there's a pin going on here. Then I thought knight c5, and then I take on e6. You have to protect the bishop, so let's say you go, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Well, it matters a little bit. I could even take here first. I might win a pawn here. I can probably take on c6. I can probably play this. This is attacked, and then I take this guy. If I couldn't, I would take here, and now I have the better structure. All my pawns are together. That's what I mean with better structure, but black has a weak pawn. Meanwhile, we have pressure on e5 and on c6, so maybe we just win a pawn here, unless e4 is working. E4 is working. But okay, the other line we won a pawn. So that's why I think d5 could be dangerous, because of knight a4. So he played c5. But now he's giving me pretty good control over this d5 square. But I think black should be able to defend. There's only one weakness on d6 and the d5 square, but overall I think it should be defensible. So now more pressure on this pawn. Bishop f8, knight c7. And I'm going after this bishop to increase my scope on this square. I can always reroute this knight to b1, c3 and d5. And like in the game we have knight f3 to g5 in some lines. So bishop f7. Somebody saying what? Knight d5 also prevents you from winning a pawn. Knight d5 in some position. Let's go back. Probably in this line with d5 then. d5. Knight a4 takes. I'm not sure where knight d5 is supposed to help. I'm not sure where knight d5. Yeah, okay, yeah, you mean here after knight takes e4. Knight d5, yeah, this might help. Still slightly better for white, but black might be able to defend. Maybe I have queen d8 check, picking up a g5 pawn. So it's always tricky, you see. because the pawns don't move backwards and you're not attacking, all these pawns could be potentially weak. So look at this. We saw a suggestion, knight d5, which looks like it defends the c6 pawn, but what happened? You lose a g5 pawn. So it's a quite tricky situation. So, okay, I went back because of a suggestion there in the chat. So c5, knight b5, bishop f8, covering the pawn. I went after the bishop, which retreated, and knight f3. Yeah. Black needs to keep on defending. I mean, if bishop h6, then maybe I go back to knight b5, attack this. I need to go like knight e8. And at some point I might reroute this bishop. I might go here and try and go through the back door at some point to c7, attack this, or maybe into d2, attack this. So I can improve my pieces, but it seems like black is doomed to passivity. Knight g5, I want this bishop somehow. I felt like I needed it. Here I was looking for some way to force the queen to a bad square and like knight e6 check, but I didn't see it, so I just played knight takes f7, queen takes, bishop c3, improving the bishop, f4. Back door, yeah. Yeah. I think I know what meaning of backdoor you're referring to, but this is the show is also for kids, so bishop d5. Okay, there might be better ways to play here, but I thought the e6 square could be quite dangerous, so I went here. We took pawn takes. I thought this check or this check could be quite important to me. I didn't see any immediate way for him to attack me here. I mean, my king is weak, but you need some. You need the queen like here or where. Okay, this a square it can't reach, or squares that it's gonna be lost. So you can't really activate the queen so good. Also, g3 pawn plays against the knight. The knight is completely dead. So right now maybe I'm just threatening to play knight e8. Take this pawn. And once I take this pawn, then the rest of the pawns are gonna drop off like yeah, like flies on the highway with a lot of wind or something. Bishop e7. Could play knight e8 now, but I went queen d7. Also eyeing this pawn. Queen f6. Yeah, now I just blundered. It's a really difficult position. Like I said, maybe I could have played knight e8 and just take d6 and I'm much better. I can take g4 maybe. You can't really defend it. And slowly but surely I can improve my position. And it's gonna be like a monster headache to defend for black. So I just blundered here in a really difficult position with queen f6. And after knight e8 I won the queen, and after that it was just a matter of technique. Unfortunately, I had enough time to finish the game, so we don't need to look at the remaining moves. Okay, let's play some more. Let's play some more. Thanks for watching and thanks for tuning in, by the way, and I hope you learned something from this game. From this game? I think I'm fairly good in these closed Sicilian reversed type of positions, so I'm hoping that I managed to give you some knowledge there.